gotta get this across the globe now, you feel me? Listen, throw out my 7-7, head out to the Coliseum. I see another team's fans, I wouldn't wanna be them. We Raider Nation and we all in. Every game, win, lose, or draw, we just all in. Every day, not just on Sunday and Monday nights. Cause to me and most of the nation, football is life. Talking bad about our Raiders, we'll brawl and fight. And don't forget these past 11 years, it's all been trite. And the nation very patient, but we tired of waiting. We just wanna see the Raiders start returning to greatness. October 8, 2011, when the biggest Raider levitated, shook the whole nation. Al Davis, we was devastated, trying to change the culture, starting with the regime. And Raider Nation like a family, cause we more than a team. The media, they got it right, they say we hungry and mean. You either Raider or a hater, bro, there's no in between. The Oakland Coliseum, so much glory, it's a story place. Head back to that trophy case and head back to the glory days. The Raider Nation, it's a sentence that's for life, bro. Thanks to Reggie Mack, this offseason got me hyped, cause I'm all in, I'm all in. Just win, baby, I'm all in, I'm all in, I'm all in. Just win, baby, I'm all in, I'm all in, I'm all in, I'm all in, baby, I'm all in, I'm all in, I'm all in, I'm all in, I'm all in. Yeah, I'm all in, I'm never skeptical. Every home game, the parking lots look like a festival. Special shout out to the homies in V-Lot, C-Lot, D-Lot, A-Lot, E-Lot, F-Lot, H-Lot, and G-Lot too. 66 mile board and then trade to the whole nation. From whatever transportation, yellow Raiders through the tunnels, bidding any vacation. We miss you all alive, but then I salute you. He even said the greatest of the Raiders is in their future. The future is now, the future is now. How many times we gotta hear it, man, the future is now. Won't allow no bandwagons if the season going well. Not another season, do we wanna see that 4-12? Unless the night and let's bring out the pressure. This the first time in a while that we in right directions. We win the game and we go crazy, man. If you ain't a Raider fan.
Hey, Raider Nation, how are you guys doing? Welcome to another great episode of the Unfiltered Truth. I'm your host, Phil Jones. Lance Goodman should be getting ready to join me shortly. Phil Robinson should be getting ready to join me a little bit shortly as well. It's a little early for some of these guys, early for you guys, but I'm here to bring you guys the good news and the Unfiltered Truth. Yo, so we have a lot to dig into, and here we have it. We have Mr. Lance Goodman. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Phil. How are you?
I'm doing excellent, man. This has been a game that I've been waiting for. I had it marked on my calendar. This was one of Derek Carr's revenge tour games that I had marked, where it was like he wants to show everybody why you stick with me and not go with the old 65-year-old GOAT.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you, Phil. Derek Carr in the two games against playoff contending teams, the wins over Kansas City and New Orleans, definitely played very, very good football. The big thing I'm looking for, Phil, not only from Derek Carr, but the Raiders team as a whole, is going to be some type of consistency. We've seen the Raiders before. I believe as recent as last year, maybe get out to like a 5-4, 6-4 start, have an opportunity to take a stronghold of a potential wild card spot. And, guys weren't able to get it done. And so I'm just really excited to see, if this Raiders team can build off such a huge win. They had a bye week, so, that momentum very well could have went away. And you got a hungry Tampa Bay Buccaneers team that's coming in confident from their win last week. So the Raiders are definitely going to have to come out the gates quick after that bye week. A lot of times, Phil, you can come out a little bit stale and flat.
Well, not even that. It's just the madness of everybody dealing with the whole COVID-19 what the team dealt with this past week. One during the bye week, you lose Damon Arnett with COVID. The second thing is you also lose Trent Brown again, but this time to COVID. You find out he's asymptomatic, but your other teammates in there, everybody's freaking out. The league coming down on this team like they're ready to crucify him. But you had this shit that went on in Tennessee, and it's just all hunky fucking dory. And thank God that the Raiders, they tested negative 2 days in a row. We're going to have Colton Miller. They're going to have Denzel Good. They're going to have Rodney Hudson. They're going to have Gabe Jackson. Because I'm going to tell you this, man, it was going to be ugly. It was going to be a hot mess. Derek Carr running for his life with Brandon Parker. John Simpson isn't that bad. Andre James isn't that bad. Patrick Omaye and Sam Young. But the Brandon Parker part, that scares the living crap out of me because he can't block a damn feather.
Yeah, man, it's going to be interesting. This COVID thing. It's interesting how it's making its rounds. Some teams obviously it's impacted more than others. The Raiders, that was definitely a kind of out of the blue situation, and so I'm definitely happy. I think that would be, from what I've seen, the Raiders have a top 3 offensive line when all 5 of their starters are healthy, and that's really giving Derek Carr time to get the football where it needs to go. I'm looking at this matchup today, Phil. There's a lot of interesting matchups that I see going on in this game. When you talk about first and foremost, I know the Raiders are definitely a team that, like to establish the run. That was something that was key in that game against Kansas City. I had a lot of people, fantasy owners, asking me about playing Josh Jacobs. And, my thing was just, for him, as long as the Raiders can keep the game close, he's a guy who's going to be able to be involved. It's when games get away that he's not there. So I look at this game this week. The Buccaneers are a top 3 run defense. I mean, you can go look at the stats, even dating back to last year, but this year they've turned it up more. And so, I think from that standpoint, this is going to be a real battle in the trenches. Let's see if the Raiders are able to get the running game going with Jacobs, because nobody has been able to run the football on Tampa Bay. I'm not sure. You'll be able to answer this better than me. I don't know if Tampa Bay defensive tackle Vita Vea is back this week. I know he suffered an injury a couple weeks ago. I didn't see how serious that was.
Yeah, he's actually out for the year.
Okay, so he's done for this. That's a big loss for them.
See, here's one thing I noticed about that. His presence is missing.
Yes.
They ran, and this is what got me with Green Bay last week. They ran up the middle, and that was the best positive yards they had in the game. But I don't know why they decided we're going to just keep running to the outside. Let's toss to the outside. Let's do a stretch to the outside. Let's do a toss to the outside. It doesn't work. Run right up the middle against them and wear them down. That's how you beat Tampa Bay.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And but their linebackers fly around. When you talk about Devin White, Levante David has been a Pro Bowl caliber linebacker for quite some time. It's good to see him back from that ACL injury a couple years removed. When I look at this Tampa Bay team, to me, their weakness is their secondary. And so I think this will be an opportunity, for Derek Carr. Once again, if things play out how they have been going so far this season, again, very tough team to run the football against. I know Vea was definitely a huge piece in that middle, but you still have some big bodies up front, and then their linebackers can fly around. So Tampa Bay, like any team in the NFL, their secondary is very vulnerable and can be exposed if the quarterback has time. And I think so far, from what I've seen from this Raiders pass block thus far this season, they're more than capable of giving Carr time. It'll be just a matter of him delivering the goods. I also think that Darren Waller could be an intricate piece today. Obviously, he's a matchup nightmare every single week. Those Tampa Bay linebackers can run. But I think if he can kind of get beyond that second level, and it's really Levante David's the more guys a little bit more seasoned in pass coverage, not so much Devin White. So I think Darren Waller has a great matchup today against their secondary, especially if he can get matched up on a smaller safety like Antonio Winfield. He's got a huge height advantage there. Antonio Winfield Jr. And for what I'm seeing, it looked like it's going to be by committee. It was good to see Henry Ruggs finally make his impact. You see Zay Jones out there. You got Nelson Aguilar. You got Hunter Renfro. So he's got a ton of guys, that he's just been spreading the wealth around to. So I think this is big. Again, a Derek Carr, a guy who we want to see consistency from. You got another winning team coming in here. I think if the Raiders can find a way to get the W today, it'll do just, man, great things for their confidence. But I'll tell you, Phil, the defensive side of the football is where I'm a bit worried about. Defense is definitely about attitude, effort. I mean, it just was like when they played Kansas City, a couple weeks ago, they just had a certain confidence, a certain hunger, a certain mentality. I think maybe as the game wore on, but it was just like they just said that they just were not going to lose that football game. And so you got Ronald Jones coming in here today, Phil, hot, ripping off 3 straight games of 100+ rushing yards. We know this is the first time or the healthiest that Mike Evans and Chris Godwin have been in the lineup together. But we know, like any good quarterback, we've seen the Raiders do a great job of that against Kansas City. If you can get pressure, especially on an older quarterback like Tom Brady, we know he's not mobile. You get him rattled early. We've seen it happen last week with Aaron Rodgers. Tampa Bay got to him early. He could never recover. The great thing I've seen from the Raiders, and I'll let you hop back in about their pass rush, is, that last game against Kansas City, I don't recall Patrick Mahomes on too many plays being able to drop back the pass and sit and pick his targets. Every time he dropped back within 2 seconds, he was having to run out that pocket. He was having to move around. Guys were flying. So it's definitely going to be that type of defensive effort needed today by that Raiders defense.
No, that's one thing I noticed too. And, you go back and look at the film, especially against Kansas City. The Raiders went with a 3-man front and then used Arden Key as a spy, dropping him back, where there's times where, like, okay, you're getting pressure right there, and you see the outside pressure coming in, and then you see, oh, snap. You're looking at the inside. There's one guy on the inside. Usually Patrick Mahomes finds that one side inside and runs downfield. Or, he gets out of the pocket and be able to make a big play. But because you had Arden Keith sitting back there as a spy, he had to drop back again, and then you're getting hit with the coverage sack. So pressure is there. Strategy is there as well for the Raiders. And you're going against a slow Tom Brady. And I'm going to be real. The offensive line, I'm not too impressed with them. Not by a long shot. Run blocking is there, but pass blocking is not the greatest from them. And you got a young right tackle as well.
Yeah, no, it's not. That's definitely an area. And, Tampa Bay is definitely one of those teams, still in transition. You look at their offensive line, like you said, kind of hard to tell, and get a real gauge on. But if you would say if anything was the weak suit on that offense, it would definitely be their offensive line. I think it's also going to be interesting today. Both of these teams have had a propensity to a lot of penalties. So I think that's something to definitely be key and watch out for. But if, the Raiders defense, like I say, I think momentum, I'm really going to be interested to see how the game starts, because I truly believe if the Raiders were coming, you got two teams, momentum wise in two different spaces. Tampa Bay's coming in this thing extremely confident, pumped up and juiced because they just thumped Green Bay. And you have to give their defensive coordinator, Todd Bowles. He's one of the best in the business at putting the game plan together. For the Raiders, like I said, if they were coming off that win at Kansas City, you just know that momentum would have rolled over into practice that following weekend into a game. So I'm just anxious to see, how prepared are the Raiders, because Tampa's coming in, with adrenaline from last week, and the Raiders obviously are coming off a well-needed bye week. But it's going to be, I think this is going to be a great game. Like I said, Phil, the Raiders are a team for me that, every year they come in, you're optimistic, on the outside looking in, you kind of view them as a 7-9, a 9-7 team. That's just kind of what it is. And, you're wondering, if this is a team that can finally turn the corner, at some point, if you're going to make the playoffs, you're going to have to put a consistent, you have to string some wins in a row together. So right now, I think they're in a very good position to where, they've got a key division win in their pocket against Kansas City. And again, if they can win this game today, I mean, the Raiders are the one team in the NFL who have the most quality wins. When you look at them beating Kansas City, you look at them beating New Orleans, those are quality wins. And so, you're just wondering, can this team show up today and be up to the task? And from what I've seen so far, they're more than capable. I just don't know which Raiders team is going to show up today. I don't know if it's going to be the guys who played Kansas City in New Orleans, or is it going to be the team, that showed up to play the Patriots?
Well, here's the funny thing about it. I mean, here's the difference. Henry Ruggs was there for Panthers, Kansas City game, the Saints game, but the Patriots game and the Buffalo game, he's not there. I think his presence on the field, it causes defenders to play back. It causes defenders to be like, oh, damn, we got the speedster coming down. We don't have to just worry about Nelson Aguilar that's now, oh, damn, he's catching every damn ball around and his speed. You now have to worry about Henry Ruggs, too. And Darren Waller. So when you have that on the field, you have to play back and have to be like, what are we going to do? You look
absolutely.
And this is the thing what I get with Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay really, you know who they really faced last week? It was Rodgers, Devontae Adams, and some practice squad guys. They didn't have blazing speed.
Yeah, I mean, that continues to be a problem for Green Bay. I mean, Alan Lazard, their top number 2 receiver, who really was the guy who was going to really help out a lot. He's been out a couple weeks with a core injury. And like you said, Green Bay found themselves in the same predicament they were at times last year when they can be exposed, which is, if you can offset Devonta Adams, they really don't have any other guys you can go to. And I mean, for the Raiders, that's what I'm looking for today from Derek Carr. That was an aggressive game plan against Kansas City. I don't know if that was by design. I don't know if when teams play Kansas City, they understand they're going to definitely have to at least put up 27 points. I don't know if that was by design or you just, you've seen KC get up early and you got to put the pedal to the metal. But I would like to see that Raiders team, that aggressive approach, come out attacking. Like you said, you got a guy like Henry Ruggs who teams have to respect his speed. And with him being so young and missing a couple games, there's not tons of film on him. So I'm not quite sure how coordinators look to offset him. But he's a guy who can stretch the football field. Zay Jones and Nelson Aguilar both have contributed. Hunter Renfrow, we know he's a guy who can work the middle. You got Jalen Richard who can work out of the backfield. You got big Darren Waller at tight end. And so I'd like to see an aggressive game plan. I mean, obviously, Josh Jacobs is a top 10 to 12 running back in the NFL, and you got that big offensive line. So you definitely want to get those guys in the trenches going early and motivated and, just getting mentally into the game. That helps in pass blocking as well. But, the pieces are there for the Raiders to really have a balanced attack and keep teams off balance. And so I want to see it today, Phil. I'm interested, man, to see this Raiders team again. To me, I won't buy 100% today, but if they can knock off Tampa Bay, that'll get them 3 wins over teams with winning records, probably be one of the few teams in the NFL. I mean, to be honest, Phil, right now, you got about maybe 8 to 12 teams in the NFL that you can really take serious and look at and say, hey, that's a quality win if you beat that team. So I'm anxious, man. I can't lie. It's been quite some time since I've been antsy to see the Raiders play. And this is a huge test today. I'm anxious to see it, man. I really want to see how this defense is going to come out and respond. Secondary has their hands full. You talk about Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, one of the best wide receiver duos in the league. You got a hot Ronald Jones again coming in, 3 straight games over 100 yards. I think their offense feels they're starting to get it in gear. We even seen a Rob Gronkowski appearance for the first time all season. And so I'm juiced, man. This is one I'm going to have my eyes tightly glued on. And again, man, it's going to be a battle in those trenches. I'm really anxious to see Derek Carr and what the Raiders' offensive game plan is today, and if these guys are going to continue to attack. Because again, if you're going to beat Tampa, their weakness is their secondary. You just have to have time to throw the football because they do have some guys up front who can definitely get after the quarterback. And like I said, Todd Bowles is one of the best in the business at putting a defensive game plan together.
And see, that's another thing. I'll give you guys a fact on Derek Carr versus Todd Bowles. He's 3-0 against that defense.
Okay. Is this Derek Carr or John Gruden?
No, Derek Carr. Derek Carr in general, facing Todd Bowles defense, he is 3-0. Put up over, I think, about 758 yards. Couple, I think, about 3 or 6 touchdowns. He's on point. He's had no problem with that defense, especially with the blitz. A blitz coming up in his face. Derek Carr's on point. I know I'm about the hardest person that I'm giving constructive criticism on Derek Carr. I'm about on his case more than anybody. And I'm going to tell you this. This is a new improved Derek Carr. This is the Derek Carr that has an aggression to him that he needs to carry on for the entire season. But the other thing that helped Derek Carr, John Gruden has decided to be aggressive. His play calling was aggressive when they went up against Kansas City, and it needs to continue going forward for the rest of the season because that's the only way you're going to win is playing aggressive. Everybody's used to seeing you be aggressive this first half if you have the lead and then you go into this whole conservative mode. Raiders were still going at it the entire time where they're like, damn, they're scoring again. They're doing it again. And that's what you need. You need that out of this team. And if this team can put that up, then I'm going to be real, Lance. Fighting for the division is going to be very entertaining now. But because you have the Chargers and you got the Broncos right behind you, you need to continue to win. You don't want to deal with that bull crap that you dealt with last year.
Yeah,
to fall apart, and then they're just creeping right up on you. But granted, I mean, Denver is facing Kansas City, and I doubt they even get the win against them. So basically, right now, you're a game, and I think you're about a game and a half, or just a game behind Kansas City. So you got to win majority of the games going forward. You got to win. To be honest, I feel like the Raiders can do it. It's not a fantasy. It's not some Madden shit we're talking. It's realistic, but you need the defense to come out and do their job. Raiders, for some of you guys that don't know the news, Raiders have activated David Irving, defensive end, defensive tackle, that signed with us during the week. Well, it was actually last week, really, during the bye, signed with us. And it looks like we're going to get some playing time from him. And I'm going to tell you this, David Irving, back when he was with Dallas under Rod Marinelli, he was better than Malik Collins. I'm looking at David Irving get through. He's swatting balls. He's coming in, making a sack. I mean, within 37 games, well, I think less than 37 games, he had about 12 and a half sacks. So adding that kind of presence, and here's a fun thing, Raiders may be having Carl Nassib back for today's game as well. So Raiders are getting everybody back healthy than what we literally expected. So I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry, Lance.
Hey, no problem.
Bro, we getting everybody back. It's like an Oprah giveaway. It's like, you get a player back. You get a player back. You get a player back. damn it, the whole team gets players back.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting, man, and it's much needed. Like I said, we kind of starting to move a little bit towards the halfway point of the season. So, like I said, at this point now, heading to week 7, the teams who have plans on making the playoffs, at some point you got to start stringing some wins together. Winning and losing, winning and losing, winning and losing. You're gonna end up 8-8 and missing out on the party. And so, like I said, man, and this is the other interesting part. This with John Gruden is facing his old franchise, so
yeah,
perhaps he's got a little bit more, of an edge to him this week, and has got his guys fired up. But that remains to be seen. Like I said, I expect for this to be a closely contested contest. I think it very well could come down to a field goal. Man, but everything's there. People are still, myself included, still kind of gauging and looking at what Tampa Bay is. And so this is a big game for the Raiders, man. And like I said, I'm just excited and looking forward to see again the keys I'm looking at today. Can they get a running game established against one of the top fronts in the NFL? If that's not the case, or even if it is the case, because play action can get set up, how is Derek Carr going to utilize, the pieces around him? Again, none of the names are household names or, proven or established guys, meaning that, you can't point to any Raiders receiver and say, what, this guy, has had 2 or 3 consecutive years in a row of, 70 catches, 1,000 yards, 8+ TDs. But Henry Ruggs, like you say, now you got a guy vertically that can do some things. Zay Jones, Nelson Aguilar, some veteran guys. Hunter Renfrow definitely is a slot receiver. Jalen Richard and Big Darren Waller, man. So like I said, I'm just anxious to see, how Gruden and how Carr, how this offense can be balanced and spread the wealth around. And then, you just got the work cut out defensively. Like I said, a lot of times, Phil, that, it's about confidence and gaining momentum. And so if it's a situation to where Ronald Jones and that running game for Tampa Bay, it may not be the best in the NFL, but he's a guy with 3 straight 100-yard games. So his confidence level is there. Tom Brady is going to feel a lot better with a healthy Chris Godwin and a healthy Mike Evans in the lineup. And so, man, great game. Could go either way. Man, I can't wait till kickoff to see how this one shakes out.
You talk about them running about. You had Ronald Jones running back 100 yards back-to-back games. If you look at it, the Raiders, after that fiasco in New England, have not allowed a 100-yard runner.
True.
So when it came down to the Bills and even Kansas City, you're thinking, well, Kansas City, damn, they're going to run it all over us. No. Not even Mahomes, not even Edwards, they kept them at bay. So, true. And now you're adding this kind of presence on your D line. And I'm going to be real here. I see that Maurice Hurst is going to have more reps in this game. Mm-hmm. You have him with Irving. You kind of have the mashup between Irving, Collins, and Hurst, and Farrell, or mix that in, or have Irving inside and then have Crosby on the outside. I'm going to tell you this. Mixing around those 3 guys and leaving Cleveland Farrell on the outside, the Raiders are going to have success. When you go to that 3-man front, you need to have Crosby on one side, have Irving on the other side, have those 2 rotate around with have those 3 rotate around, Crosby, Farrell, Irving, have them rotate around. And then get Nassib involved if he's going to be active and healthy. And then you also have Arden Key. You're going to have him drop back a little bit. I'm going to tell you this. If he does drop back, knowing Tom Brady, he's going to try to find something underneath to one of his tight ends, Cameron Brate, or he's going to try to find Rob Gronkowski, and you just need to sit there and be ready to react. Rob Gronkowski is not the fastest tight end anymore that he used to be. He's not that strong as he used to be. He's not that big as he used to be. So, yes, the Raiders are not going to have Jonathan Abrams in this game due to him being around Trent Brown that Tuesday and he had COVID, you're going to be looking at Jeff Heath, Eric Harris, and I'm going to say LaMarcus Joyner. If Paul Gunther's smart, he'll have Heath and Joyner back there, and then probably bring in Eric Harris on a special package. Because so far, since we've had Jeff Heath back there, it's been a positive in coverage. I feel having Joyner at the safety position, that's going to be the best thing for the Raiders. And it needs to happen. But so far, Paul Gunther hasn't really showed me this. But we need that. We need that right away from him. The news with Trent Brown, he's out. He won't be playing this game until probably next week.
Yeah.
I'll leave it at that. All right, there you go, Lance.
Yep.
But yeah, we won't be seeing Trent Brown until next week. He got to test, get 2 negatives on his test, or really get negative all the way through. But really, the secondary, the Raiders are going to have to step up. They activated Dylan Mabin, another tall corner, 6'1", has speed. I looked at some of his tape from Fordham, and he's pretty good. He just needs a little bit of work, but he's going to be involved in the secondary. Who knows? The Raiders might have a Mick Robertson line up against Scotty Miller. Scotty Miller's not too fast, but I think Mick Robertson can handle him.
Yeah. Yep, it's going to be interesting, man. Like I said, I mean, I would think it's fair to say at this point, both of these teams are pretty evenly matched, and man, like I said, it's going to make way for a great game, But I think this is a big one for Derek Carr, and the Raiders defense. Like I said, the Raiders offensive line, the running game, to me, that's a proven commodity. Sometimes you just, what can you do? You play the Steelers defense. Right now, for me, feel the top 5 defenses in the NFL, and all of them are very difficult to run against. Pittsburgh, the Ravens, Chicago, the Patriots. Excuse me, those 4 defenses. It's difficult. Trying to run the football against those teams, it's very difficult. So, some days you may not have it, but for Derek Carr in this passing game, for the Raiders defense, this is a huge game. This is a huge game. And I'm really interested to see how it's going to shake out. Because like I said, if you look at how these two teams have played this year, these teams are very, very evenly matched. There's no question about that at all.
No, absolutely. But the one thing I've noticed, I don't think anybody else has noticed, are Godwin and Evans and Brady on the same page. Because it seems like you'll see majority games that Godwin's been out is Brady, Evans. Or if Evans is out, Godwin, Brady. But all 3 of them on the field, like I go back to that first week 1 game, are they really in sync together?
Mm-hmm. No, they're not. No, they're not, Phil. They're not. And that may take a couple more weeks. Excuse me, Chris Godwin, he suffered a concussion in week 1, missed 2 games, came back in week 4, did score a touchdown on a short out route, put his hamstring, missed another game. Then it was a bye week, came back last week, and just wasn't in the flow of the offense again. That game just got so out of whack early. And so, and then Mike Evans, he's been a steady piece, but in week 1 he had a hamstring slow him down, rolled his ankle maybe in week 4, and so he probably is back to 100%, if not close to it. But those guys just have not been on the football field together. Evans has been there for Brady. He's fought through battled through injury, but Chris Godwin has actually been out. So in terms of real game time play, those guys have not been on the field together and do not have the chemistry, but it's something that they're eager to work on. And, if you look at, the Raiders secondary, definitely again a unit that by no means is going to scare anybody. You got a lot of young, unproven guys, and I'm pretty sure Tampa Bay is looking to attack that. When defenses see both the Raiders and the Buccaneers, like I said, for both of those teams, it's an Achilles heel. So let's see. If the Raiders defense, again, that pass rush, if those guys are coming for Tom Brady the way that they were coming for Patrick Mahomes, then Tampa Bay could be in it could be in trouble, especially if they don't get the running game going. So this is a true X and O matchup. When I think it's early enough in the season, we don't have a lot to hang our hat on. We do know for Tampa Bay, they have some more heralded names. Ndamukong Suh, you know what I'm saying, Jason Pierre-Paul. That's what made Tampa so tough to run against with Big Sue and Vita there in the middle. Vea's out, but they've got guys who can definitely bring pressure. Can't forget about Shaq Barrett. And then, like I said, on that second level, you got Devin White and Levante Davis. So, they've got more heralded names. I think that defense, has over the last year has played more consistently. But again, Derek Carr, this was a year I think he definitely had a chip on his shoulder. I mean, you talked about, Phil, a lot how in the preseason where certain truths and realities and facts, it was hard for him to swallow. But, he's got another opportunity to go out here today and prove everybody wrong. And, the game is not solely on him. I think Derek needs to just focus on doing his job. As long as these games are over and you can look up and see that, what I'm saying, he hasn't turned the football over. He's not making any boneheaded plays, any miscues, any mental errors. You're going to accept that because it's a team sport and they've definitely got pieces around him. So, man, I'm definitely looking forward to it. I don't know who's going to win this one, Phil, but if I had to put a score on it, I'd assume it'd be somewhere around, we're probably looking at a 27-24 type game.
You know what? I would agree on that one. I definitely agree on that one, especially if Tom Brady forgetting what down it is.
Yeah, that man, that was something. But what's so interesting, Phil, is Tampa Bay turned it around. Tom Brady, we know he's a guy that's coming from a winning culture. And it's different for him, in New England, New England has won a lot of their football games in that Tom Brady Belichick era by beating you with the fundamentals. They win time of possession. They win the field possession battle. They win the turnover battle. They win the penalty. They win the penalty battle. And, their defense bends but doesn't break. And so and they can get timely turnovers or key stops when necessary. So Tom Brady's not accustomed to a game like he had in Chicago where, his team is up over 100 yards and penalties. And a lot of those penalties were negating first downs for Tampa Bay or putting them in horrible situations. So they come out the next week, and last week they didn't have a single penalty at all. So obviously, that type leadership, from Tom Brady is going to permeate throughout the locker room. And I think for these Raiders players, let's face it, Derek Carr, is probably the longest tenured, or one of the longest tenured players on this Raiders team. Here in year 7, I'm pretty sure he's the only. I'm pretty sure.
Him and Gabe Jackson are the longest.
Right, and those are the only two guys who were around the last time we seen the Raiders have success. Which unfortunately, that was Derek Carr's MVP caliber season, but unfortunately he suffered that late season injury, and then obviously they went down to Houston and lost. But those two guys are the last.
Two guys. I'll add in Rodney Hudson. And
yes,
here's one thing I'll say. Yeah, we have Derek Carr as a captain, but the main guy that is really showing that leadership in that locker room is Rodney Hudson.
Yes.
Rodney Hudson will gather that offense together, and he'll get the guys on defense in check and be like, hey, we need to pull this shit together.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say this. There is a different tone in Derek Carr where it's not that old gosh garly, gosh darn it. No, it's put up or shut up. And that's what I need to see from him. That whole soft approach that a lot of defenders were talking about over in the offseason about him, it really struck a nerve with him. I'm going to say this. Tyrann Mathieu ran his mouth about Derek Carr during the last season, during the all season, and before the game started, and he was silenced. I haven't heard a damn word out of him. Shit. His own child said, "Daddy, why you no talk about Dad Carr no more?" Oh yeah, he whooping your ass.
Yeah, man. It's like I said, man. This guy definitely, he should have a chip on his shoulder. He should have a lot to prove. And I mean, on games like this, like you said, hey, look, you knocked off Drew Brees, you knocked off Patrick Mahomes. That's saying a lot. Now it's time for Tom Brady. So, man, I'm really excited about this one, Phil. And I think Raiders fans are excited too. So this is one of the best games on the slate today. Along with that Tennessee, Pittsburgh, and Arizona, and Seattle. I think this game is right in the limelight with that. So all eyes are going to be on this Raiders team, and let's see if they can go out there and get it done. Phil, I'll be looking forward to keeping track of your comments. You're one of the funniest in the biz, man. We got to figure out a way to get you on camera throughout the course of the game so we can see the array of emotions that you that you go through. That's a must see TV. The array of emotions that you go through. I mean, now we definitely got to make sure that this is a grown folk show. We definitely got to make sure this is not a show that needs to be on Cartoon Network or Disney. And it's unfiltered, man. That's what it is. The Unfiltered Truth.
Absolutely. Yes, so hey, I know you got to get ready to run out. I know you got your show coming up with your fantasy show on Instagram, correct?
It's over on Facebook Live. If you just go to if you go to UnPhilteredTruth.com, you can just click on the Facebook icon. It'll take you to the page. Send a friend request. I go on at 11:30. And then obviously on Twitter, I'm at NFL Exporter. I'm about to throw that up there now. I know you always give me some love on the retweet, and I appreciate it, man. I look forward. Like I said, this is a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to though, man. I can't wait. Like I said, besides the Tennessee, Pittsburgh, Arizona, Seattle, there's a couple other games, for various reasons I'm interested in. But this is it, man. This Tampa Bay Raiders game for me right now is one that I'm going to be having my eyes closely glued on. I want to see if this Raiders team can turn the corner, and I think if they can knock off Tampa today, then they'll have the confidence. They'll have something to look at, tangible and concrete, and there'll really be no excuse. If you can beat the Raiders, if you can beat Tampa Bay, if you can beat the Saints, if you can beat the Kansas City Chiefs. You're not going to obviously win every single game, but the level, you should be competitive. There's no reason that a game like this today, this team shouldn't be able to come away and say, "Yo, we can bang with anybody." So let's get it on, man. I can't wait till this game kicks off.
And like you said, if you guys want to check out with some fantasy football tips, who to start, who to bench today, go on www.nflexporter.com. It'll link you to the live show that he has going on. I'm gonna tell you this: it saved my ass the other week in fantasy because I had everybody out. I was picking up left and right. Somebody tried to ask me, how about you trade me Derrick Henry? I said, hell no, I ain't trading Derrick Henry. Shit. Derrick Henry went 300 yards rushing today. Shit.
Yeah, no way. Now I will say he's got it tough, and I'll throw that in there. Well, I'll get my Raiders plugs in real quick and branch off your Derrick Henry. Tough matchup today. That Pittsburgh Steelers defense, especially stopping a run, is no joke. But Derrick Henry is a guy that you cannot afford to sit. You will live with whatever comes along with him. We know he's capable of breaking things open at any time. And the same holds true. I'll patch that right over to Josh Jacobs. If you go to, again, that's www.nflexporter.com. I believe you're able to see that. We'll make sure we get myself a nice picture in here of myself if I can't get my video working. But you see NFL Exporter there on your screen. It's just nflexporter.com. Again, if you just click on the Facebook tab, it'll take you to the show live at 11:30. But Josh Jacobs, he's a guy right now ranked number 12 in my number 11 in my fantasy running backs coming into this week. And again, on paper, very tough matchup against that Bucs defense, but he's another guy like Darren Waller, who you cannot afford to sit. These guys you have in your lineup every single week, and you just will live with the results. They're that talented and elite of playmakers that, they can make anything happen at any given point in time. And again, if they have an off day, you respect it because, they have other days like Mr. Jacobs 2 weeks ago, 77 yards, 2 big touchdowns. That's a great day at the office. Darren Waller, short touchdown. So, maybe the yards aren't always there, but those guys are elite playmakers and you start them every single week.
So question, should I start Henry Ruggs the third?
You know what? It depends on what your team looks like. That's the key. I'm not sure who your other receivers are, but in terms of his value for this week and moving forward until we can get a little bit more consistency, he's a solid flex play at the most. I don't view him as a starting wide receiver number 1 or starting wide receiver number 2. He's still getting his feet wet. We're still trying to see, how he can be a consistent part of the offense. And, he reminds me a lot of Hollywood Brown of the Baltimore Ravens, a guy last year who in his rookie season had big games, but it was always on big chunk plays and vertical. That's kind of his niche in the offense. But, when it comes to being a possession guy, when it comes to being, okay, if the deep ball isn't there, then, we really don't see him show up in the stat sheet. And so I think that's how I see Henry Ruggs right now. If Henry Ruggs doesn't get a huge 40 or 50-yard game, if he doesn't make some big chunk plays, is he a guy who can give you a steady diet of 5 to 6 catches for a solid 60 to 70 yards a week? That's what you're usually looking for from a good fantasy receiver. And so I would play him in my flex. If you do decide to play him, depending on what other options you have, that's where you're going to value him at right now. And again, he's a guy that he's going to be on the football field. You feel confident about that. First round draft pick. He's starting. The Raiders are definitely looking to get an immediate return on their investment. So you don't have to worry about him being in the game. Again, your concern is just, if Henry Ruggs doesn't get a 40 or 50-yard touchdown strike, is he a guy who's going to, throughout the course of the game, rack up, catches of 8 yards here, 12 here, 13 here, 20-yarder there. So that's your only concern about him.
All right. Excellent.
Well, okay, Phil, man. Well, hey, absolutely. Well, look, again, I appreciate everybody for joining the show. Thank my man, Phil. You're listening to the Unfiltered Truth. You guys have a great game day. Again, I'm on Twitter at NFL Exporter. Go to NFLExporter.com. Now, everything you need is there. You can easily access my social media pages, check out my fantasy rankings. And again, I'll be over on Facebook Live at 11:30. That Facebook handle is NFL Exporter. Lance Goodman, my man, Phil, the Unfiltered Truth. I'm always checking on you throughout the course of the day, man. I always got a nurse, an ambulance, water. I got things on hold. I got things on hold for you when these Raiders games is going on, man. I got to make sure somebody's there to check your vitals at all times, man.
All right, man. All right, Lance, you go and take care, man.
Okay, you too. Thanks a lot, Phil. I'll see you next week.
All right, man. God bless. That's my boy Lance Goodman. Oh, man. All right, so we're about an hour away before all the NFL pregame shows get ready to start. But I want to go back and dive in to what I really want to hit on. I really want to hit on this with Trent Brown. We've only seen him for about a game and a quarter. And it really became frustrating for a lot of fans to watch and, this team to see. Like, we're only getting a limited amount from this guy. And this was supposed to be one of the highest paid offensive linemen in the NFL. And we're not getting the results that we should be getting. And this whole thing with what went on, you're taking off your tracking device just to go do what the hell you want to do. You're breaking protocol. You put your teammates at risk to where that really affected the primetime game. And then also affected Jonathan Abrams' chance of playing in this game. So my whole thing is this. is Trent Brown really all in on this team? I know I got folks in the comment sections right here, but is he really all in with this Raiders football team? Because literally, I'm at a point where I'm watching him and he does not look like the guy that wants to be on this team anymore. He just doesn't. The fact that you honestly came out there and got your teammates sick for this shit, and I'm gonna be real, if you understand what Roddy Hudson, I think his wife is she has an autoimmune disorder, and that's what really pisses me off. You put this man at risk of exposing his wife. And there were talks during the week that there are some Raider family members, like some of the players' family members, feel that he does not care about others on this team. Only thing Trent Brown is all in on is the buffet line. Damn. I mean, that's one way of putting it. I mean, my whole thing is this. It's just, you really exposed your entire team to this shit. Seriously. Like, how do you expose your entire team to your offensive lineman at first, your starting O-line? Because let's be real, if they didn't pass their test this week, like I said early on, you would have been stuck with Brandon Parker, John Simpson, Andre James. You would have been stuck with Patrick Amuamara, and you would have been stuck with, Sam Young. I mean, we're going to have Sam Young today, but that Brandon Parker part, that scares the living hell out of me. Derek Carr must have been on his knees praying with me. I was praying too. I couldn't let that happen. And it's frustrating that right there, you're the one cause of 5 players being out. I mean, 4 coming in, but we still lose Abrams on that defense. Now, I'm going to be real. Abrams was not the best in coverage on the defense right here. So we're going to see how that plays out. We're going to see Jeff Heath. We're going to see Eric Harris out there. But like I said, I would prefer to have Joyner out there on that safety position instead of the slot. You could put a Mick Robertson in there, or you could put Nevin Lawson in the slot. Have Isaiah Johnson play the outside like we had drafted him for. It's time to get a chance to see exactly what Isaiah Johnson does at corner instead of safety. Raiders are, like I said earlier, Raiders are activating David Irving on that D-line. That's going to be a plus. We both know that Malik Collins is questionable for today's game. And we know that Carl Nassib is questionable. That I didn't think he was going to be able to practice. They said his foot was that bad, or his toe injury was bad, but it looks like he's gotten over that. He's going to be coming out ready to play. Carl Nassib is a tough SOB, and I respect that on so many levels. This Raiders team, I mean, they really, if you look at the injury list, it's shrunk. It's shrunk down. It's not as bad as what we saw early on in the season, but I'm looking at this Tampa Bay's injury list. Andrew Adams, that's the starting safety. I know Mike Evans was on that list with an ankle injury. Levante David had a knee injury. William Golston, bicep. Chris Godwin, hamstring. Rob Gronkowski, shoulder. Scotty Miller, hip and groin injury. Jason Pierre-Paul's knee. Antoine Whitfield Jr.'s shoulder. Carlton Davis' knee. You know, these guys were majority limited practice, or one, I think the only person that didn't practice one of the days was Jason Pierre-Paul, but I'm guessing it was more of a Veterans Day off because Ndamukong Suh had that day off. But the thing of it is, these guys are getting old, and this is a game. I mean, when I was talking with Lance, you know, this is going to be a challenging game, but I feel that the Raiders are going to be able to be aggressive with them. I think they're going to be able to drive them back. And that's the one key thing that the Raiders need to do this entire game is to drive that D-line back. They don't have Vita Vea in the middle anymore. It's Ndamukong Suh. You have an aging Ndamukong Suh. He's good, but you have him going up against Rodney Hudson, and you're going to probably have Denzel Good come over there with a chip. You need to get him out of the way. Gabe Jackson's going to have to be that guy that needs to get to the next level and take care of one of the, either Levante David or Devin White. Because I'm going to say this, that's what's going to be the one-on-one matchup right there. You need to see Josh Jacobs running right up the gut and just running his ass over. It can't be we're going to bounce it to the outside, because Green Bay literally failed at that the other week. It's time for us to see more of Booker in that 1-2 punch. And with Booker's speed, I think that's going to wear down those linebackers. Speed and power. And then also having Jacobs, he has speed, but he majority has power, and he's going to lay the wood right there on him. That's what's going to be key. Darren Waller is one thing that I hope they've been working with this, maintaining control of the football. If you look at some instant replays or if you watch all 22, Darren Waller, he'll catch the football, and there's so much ball movement going on to where, dude, you're going to fumble this football. And if you look at the games that he fumbled the football, Tennessee from last year, Buffalo from this year, it's a problem. He needs to make sure he is properly securing the football. If he properly secures it, the Raiders are not going to have a problem. Darren Waller's not going to have a problem. To be honest, I am not impressed with the secondary that they're going up against, and I feel like Aguilar and Ruggs should be able to feast in this game. Even Hunter Renfrow, go on and add Zay Jones in the mix of this, because I see that speed is going to be the major advantage on this receiving core that can wipe out that secondary, and it's going to cause them to drop back and play a lot of zone. And you know what? That's going to open up the running. That's going to open up the floodgates for just to run the ball. I feel that this is going to be a game that Derek Carr can capitalize on and have a solid game. He doesn't have to go. He probably throw for 300 yards in this game. I still see it happening. I still see Derek Carr having about 2-3 touchdowns in this game. But I do see this being a game where Josh Jacobs is going to find a way to get 100 yards. I just feel that it's highly possible that he can get a 100-yard game. I just look at what Tampa Bay went up against. Chicago's running offense is not that great. Green Bay is not the best. Chargers really don't have anything because they got all these damn injuries. So really, if you want to be honest, you want to be sincere, Tampa Bay hasn't really faced a running back. Yeah, they haven't really faced a running back. I don't know why they were like, that was the thing that got me. You ran up the middle with Williams, but Aaron Jones, you left him running on the outside. You didn't use him properly. Josh Jacobs just run him up the middle. Wear the interior D line out. Linebackers like to move to the outside a lot. They like to cover east and west instead of north and south majority of the time. So if I'm the Raiders, I'm running it right up the middle, running up north, and just taking care of business. Defensively, I'm hoping that we have NASA, we have Collins. We can mix this up a little bit. I want to see the Raiders be able to give more reps to Maurice Hurst. You give him the reps that he deserves and he needs. I'm going to say this: Raiders can win up front. They can win up front with having these guys mixed up in the line in that rotation. Our linebackers are good. I think one thing with the linebackers with Corey Littleton, have him come on the opposite side. You don't always have to drop Corey Littleton in the coverage. Let him come in and blitz and give Tom Brady an uncomfortable time. Or also, to be honest, the Raiders could go and use all three of their linebackers. Use all three of your linebackers. Have Raekwon McMillan come in and have him blitz off the edge. And then you got two linebackers right there. Mix it up. Run a 3-man front. Run a 3-4. Run a 3. I mean, it's not that hard. If Paul Guenther is willing to mix things up, the Raiders can really have the competitive edge over Tampa Bay. And yes, you got to take away the middle of the field. You take away the middle of the field from Tom Brady and make him have to throw these outside passes. I'm going to say this is 50-50 with our corners. Even without having Arnett, I feel like Raiders need to go in and have Isaiah Johnson play on the outside and let Nevin Lawson play in the slot. That's the only way this is going to work. But for the love of God, Paul Guenther will go and say, no, I feel like we're going to have Joyner inside on the slot. I think that's the best thing to do. No, in this situation, you need to drop LaMarcus Joyner back at safety. That's the most logical thing to do. And to be honest, I mean, this is going to be a game where it could go back and forth. This could be the game where, it could be 31-24, or it could be 27-24. This is going to be a close game. I will give Tampa Bay their respect for the weapons that they have around them and what they can do on defense, but the Raiders are going to have to answer right away. It cannot be with 3 points. They need to score on the opening drive for 7. They need to score every single damn drive they have the opportunity to do. And that is why you have a team like Kansas City able to get the job done like they're doing, because even if they didn't get 7, they got 3, but they're scoring on every single drive they have. The Raiders must score on every single drive they have. They get this done. I'm going to tell you this. Going into Cleveland the following week will be interesting. Raiders need to play aggressive in this game. The Raiders play aggressive in this game, the Raiders can get so much done. And I would not let the foot off the brake. I would not let my foot off the gas pedal in this game. This is the game where you're like, I'm John Gruden. You know, this team should have been mine right now. I got screwed over because of Lance Kiffin's father wants to go to USC with his son. I want to beat Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay fired me. So you know this game means something to them. Be aggressive in this game. Brady versus Carr. Raiders, look, we talked about it during the all season that Tom Brady could have been a guy playing in silver and black. I even said it. But it didn't happen. It is what it is. We got Derek Carr, and Derek Carr showing everybody that it's lights out football. He wants to be respected. He's tired of being disrespected. He was disrespected with the whole Tom Brady to Vegas talk, and I know he wants to go off and show everybody, like, yeah, I bet you guys won't think about Tom Brady ever again. Well, damn it, you're at home. It's your time to shine and show everybody that you need to get the W over again. Get the W over Tom Brady. You can do it. I damn sure believe he can do it now after what I saw him do in Kansas City. After that interception, he recovered, got back downfield, and said, I'm going to find my guy downfield. I'm going to find you. I'm going to get you. We're going to score. We're going to win this game. That was the drive I saw out of Derek Carr in that game, and I was like, damn, this is the guy. This is the guy. This is the guy that I rooted for when he was a rookie. This is the guy I rooted for year 2, year 3, year 4, even year 5. Held a wing in the prayer in year 6. He's trying to get it back together. I know I am hard and crucial on him, but he's trying to show me, Phil, I promise you, I can get this together. And we're going to win this. Well, y'all going to be seeing me forever. Well, shit, you know what? Get the job done, Derek Carr. Shit, that's all I need. Get the job done, and that's all. I'll be happy. I'll get a Derek Carr jersey, and I'll flex in it. I'll be a swole Derek Carr. I'll be like, what's good, y'all? What's good? But, you know, he needed that interception. Yeah, Raymond, you're right. He did need the interception, and it lit a fire under his ass. You're right. You're absolutely right. So he has a lot to look forward to in this game. I'm not going to spend too much time on this game day edition because we have at 4 o'clock. We have our 4 o'clock game, so I'll be back around 3:30, and we'll have our pregame show. Phil Robinson should be there for that. I probably might have another special guest joining me to cover this. But other than that, I appreciate you guys joining me this morning on the Unfiltered Truth Game Day edition. Remember, you guys can recap the show on our YouTube page. Subscribe to the Unfiltered Truth. Just find it, subscribe. You can catch up on all of our shows that you missed. Or if you caught half of it, you can catch the whole damn show. You can catch it on my Periscope. You can catch it on our Facebook with IE Sports Radio. Go on and subscribe to them. But other than that, you guys enjoy the rest of your morning. I know some of you guys are like, I'm discombobulated right now. I done probably drank a little bit, and I know some folks are Dodgers fans. I know they dealt with a rough one last night, but y'all going to be all right. Y'all going to bounce back. Y'all take care. God bless. I'll see you guys for pregame.